Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. The market is trying to shake you out of your XRP position right before the most important price burst in XRP history. Think about that. The market started tanking on Thursday, led by Bitcoin. XRP went down as well, and we've actually had a bit of a rebound since then. Think about all the people that panic sold at that point, and we are up a little bit now. It's just incredible, because I'll tell you this. Almost 100% of the XRP chart analysts that I follow, and I follow a lot of them, almost all of them agree that we're going to hit at least double-digit price action this market cycle. And we're actually at that moment, you'll see as I go through this video why I'm saying this, we're actually at that moment where it makes sense that in any given moment, we could begin the next leg up for XRP. And some people have been panic selling in recent days. Have you lost your damn mind? That's what I mean, people, y'all do what you want. I don't know your individual circumstances. I don't know what's best for you on an individual level. But just specifically for the people who are panic selling, it's just one of those audible sigh, face palm, eye roll, that all that crap. It's one of those moments for me. I just like, oh my God. As somebody who's never sold one single XRP in his entire life, I just cannot relate to that. Now, as far as what's going to happen next, well, admittedly, nobody knows for sure. But what I have been seeing is increased confidence from multiple analysts that we actually might not head lower before just resuming to the upside. So if you've been paying attention to my channel and the videos where I'm updating what's happening in the market, I've noted that lots of analysts have been warning that it's at least possible, they weren't promising it was the most likely thing, but possible you could see Bitcoin dip into the mid 90,000s. All sorts of analysts talk about that. The Credible Crypto, the blockchain backer, tons of analysts have been warning about that recently. And again, none of them were promising that it was going to happen. It's not like these were high conviction things that were being espoused, but that's the type of thing that, there's historic norms for that type of price action. But now I'm seeing, after the fallout from Thursday, and seeing how Bitcoin and the crypto markets behave since then, I'm seeing increased confidence that we actually might not go that low. So it's not a guaranteed thing. We still could. It's on the table. But we actually might have just seen the worst and then continue to the upside, actually, which is going to be really exciting for XRP holders. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say are right. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, as I record this video, it is 3:58 a.m. Central Time, so it's now Saturday, June 7th, 2025. XRP is $2.17. Bitcoin is $104,876. Here's the 24-hour chart for XRP. Here it is for Bitcoin, and as I click back and forth between these two different charts, you might notice that they're the same damn chart. The market is just moving in tandem. We're in this moment in time where we're just waiting to see which way things go, and it could be. But here's the thing: the next move could be highly consequential, because the next move, if it is to the upside, it actually could be the beginning, finally, of that parabolic rally for Bitcoin, and then altcoins. You know that they're going to catch up. They're absolutely going to catch up. And that's when you're going to see XRP run away and steal the show, finally enter price discovery for the first time in over 7 years, and melt phases. Here's a post from Crypto Banter. They shared this on Friday, and kind of embarrassing for them. I don't know why they did this, but they had an outdated chart, and they didn't seem to know it. But still, it's interesting. I'm highlighting this for a reason. So Crypto Banter shared this global M2 chart, which is, that is an interesting chart to track. I've been highlighting that incessantly. And, it seems like that recently, right? But here, Crypto Banner wrote, perfect retest on the M2 money supply chart indicating a push to the upside. We all know what happens to Bitcoin from there. Okay, and so it is important to track this. It is a key metric, something to be aware of. Because as global liquidity increases, that means more people and businesses, institutions have money. And the more money you have, you got to put it somewhere, right? And so you might have an increased appetite for additional risk as a result of this. And so you end up with a situation where people invest and they just go further and further out the risk curve. And so Julian Biddle, who is the head of macro research at Global Macro Investor, he saw Crypto Banter highlight this. this chart, and he noticed that it's one of their charts, and they weren't tagged in it, right? And although it does say GMI at the bottom, still it's nice to tag the people and give them credit to whoever's doing it. You know, like if you appreciate someone's work, like share it, yes, but give credit. You know, prop them up. But anyway, so Julian Biddle saw that, highlighted that, and said this chart is very outdated. It's one of ours from back in Q4 of last year, when we were expecting global M2 to bottom and start turning higher. Attached is the latest chart, new all-time highs. And so there you go. It was an out-of-date chart, but I wanted to highlight this because, and I remember covering this at the time, the guys over at GMI, along with Julian Biddle, Raoul Paul, they were absolutely beating this drum. They had thoughtful, entire letters written up on why they believed that liquidity was going to be increasing, global M2 specifically, and that as a result, Bitcoin and the crypto asset class, of course, would ultimately follow. They've been right about liquidity expanding. It's happening, and the correlation has persisted ever since then. So I covered it back then. We knew that that was possible. So said they. They were correct, and now it is following. And they're saying, guys, it's not done. It's not the correlation is just going to go away. This is going to persist, right? And so that's why I wanted to highlight that. Like, it's still happening. Global liquidity is still increasing, and there is still that correlation. So you know what happens next. We've seen this movie before. Here's a post from chart analyst Tech Dev. He shared this Friday evening. It's the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin. And he says, it's quite clear that the vast majority still have no idea how explosive this altcoin chart is. And so you can see he's highlighting here that what's been happening for years is this consolidation. So it's been volatile because it's crypto, sure, but over a span of years now, it's been consolidating. The range of volatility has been decreasing, and it's getting closer and closer to the apex. And you can see that the Bollinger Bands here are very tight right now, much tighter than last cycle. So what do you think happens next? This thing's gonna blow, folks. Here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto on Friday, Bitcoin BTC USD chart. He's noting here that he's expecting an all-time high after the breakout, so his optimism is not swaying whatsoever. Similar story here for Rect Capital. In fact, he's noting how well things have been behaving, at least to the point, well, from the point he posted this Friday afternoon, but even till now, now it's Saturday morning. He wrote here, though, Bitcoin, it looks like the retest is successful for the moment. So, love to see that. And he's obviously very strongly believes that it's looking good and expects a continuation ultimately to be at least possible to the upside in the short term. And then there's this from Credible Crypto. He also thinks, guys, we could actually just kind of go from here. So he's got a BTC USD chart here, and he says, we broke below the local demand at $102,000 to $103,000 that we initially bounced from, and immediately took the first set of built-up liquidity I've been referring to in recent updates. The next major demand zone is at $93,000 to $97,000, but if we can form a nice little range and base here above it, we may not need to visit that next demand zone. Based on what I'm seeing on a lot of vaults at the moment, I think there is a decent chance for this to happen. Let's see how price action develops over the next couple of days. Okay, so he's not promising it, but he actually thinks based on how things have developed since the recent dip, just from the dip on Thursday, we may not have to go lower. And he did call it. He warned that there's a chance that we could go to the mid-90s, but he also cited the lower 100,000s as a key range, and we bounced from there. He cited that, and we have bounced from there, and based on how things have been playing out since then, and he posted this Friday afternoon, and this is his most recent update, even to this point, maybe that was it, in which case we can really get ready sooner than later, perhaps, for just movement resuming to the upside. Here's a post from X-Force Global. He seems to be thinking in fairly similar terms. XRP USD chart here. He says, XRP, unusual strength here. Folks, that sounds like me. I've been saying that the whole damn year. And well, actually, the tail end of 2024 as well, once XRP started ripping after the election. Just uncharacteristic strength. Like you haven't seen... I mean, if you've been holding XRP for several years, you know that what we've been experiencing for the last half a year is not the norm. But it was also artificially suppressed, and now it's not. Now it's on a level playing field. And so it's outperforming. It's playing catch-up, obviously. And so, yes, unusual strength. So anyway, then he says, with XRP potentially completing its correction or nearly there, it opens the door for Bitcoin to wrap up its own correction sooner than expected, possibly in a similar WXYXZ structure. A bottom could be forming and may be ready for all-time high. So he seems to think it's possible that Bitcoin could be wrapping up its correction sooner than later, like maybe, kind of like Credible Crypto was talking about. In which case, buckle up, folks. So we're gonna find out together. But that's exciting. No, and that's one of the fun things about living in this moment, in this part of a market cycle. It really is true that any day you could just wake up, check the chart, and it's just going. And I mean to the upside, not down. Here's a post from Chart Analyst E. Greg Crypto. He says, nothing has changed. And this is XRP USD chart, of course. He says, the double bottom remains a solid, strong structure. The key indicator now is to avoid 3 consecutive daily closes below $2, which would signal potential structural failure. A decisive close above $2.30 on the 3-day chart, especially above the 21 EMA, will confirm that the double bottom pattern is active for XRP. This could open doors to potential targets around $2.65 to $3. As long as the bulls defend the critical support at $2.07, the bullish momentum stays intact. Remember, the upper targets haven't changed, but don't be fooled. The market loves to shake you out before the move. Well, ain't that the truth? That is what happens. I know the market isn't a sentient being, but there are lots of people that collectively are the market. They're the market forces, and the behaviors that you see do result in people making these just disastrous emotional decisions at crucial moments in time. This is a crucial moment in the history of XRP price-wise. In terms of price action, this is a crucial moment. And to know that there are people actually getting shaken out at such an important moment in time, it's just sad. It really is just sad. But, people are doing whatever they think is best for them, fine. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong and it all just goes to zero. I do not think so. I have strong conviction, and I believe for very, very good reason. This thing's going to rip to the upside. And so Greg Crypto talking about key levels here again, $2.65. Tons of analysts keep talking about that. And also $3. So as long as we hold what we're currently holding anyway, could be sitting pretty here. Here's a post from Chart Analyst Dark Defender. It says, XRP's upcoming performance against Bitcoin is inevitable. Shortly, everyone will talk about this. And this is an XRP BTC chart, by the way. He says, hidden bullish divergence on XRP charts, hidden bearish divergence on Bitcoin charts. XRP BTC is bullish based on relative strength index and expected fifth Elliott wave. So nothing but optimism effectively for what I'm seeing from XRP chart analysts. And a lot of them are noticing a lot of the same things. So, that's usually worth paying attention to. Here's a post from Charting Guy. It says, XRP, nice reaction off support to the penny. And he's noting that at least at wherever he's pulling this data from, XRP dropped to $2.05. If you looked at Live Coin Watch the other day, it showed a low of $2.07. But like I was saying yesterday, I was like, I bet that there are some exchanges where it did get that low. And here he pulled, I'm not sure what the exchange is because it's not listed on a screen grab here, but he pulled it from some exchange and it did get down to $2.05. Not surprising at all, which is the level that he was actually calling for leading up to this. And so he said, nice reaction off support. So he's also noticing, hey, this is actually pretty good looking price action. So kind of promising. Now, somebody asked him, will it grab liquidity at $2? So would the price get that low? And Charting Guy said, doesn't need to. Now, I shared at least one, maybe two posts from the other day where he was highlighting and warning it's possible that XRP actually could get down to, I think he said like $1.90 to $2 range. But here he's looking at how the price action has developed and he's just noting doesn't need to. So he's not promising it will or won't, but it's looking good right now. This is what I keep seeing from tons of analysts. It's actually looking pretty good. Seen that from tons of them. Here's a post from Chart Analyst Cryptos. He says, XRP daily closed back above the neckline. Bullish. So another analyst looking at the short-term price action be like, not too shabby. Here's another one. This is from CoinsKid, XRP USD chart. And validation of this macro reversal pattern is the head. And so, well, I should mention this too. So looks like he's got an inverse head and shoulders listed here. You can see the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder. You can argue about whether or not that's a proper chart formation. but he believes it is. And so he says, invalidation of this macro reversal pattern is the head. And so that would be, just to be clear, $1.61. If it goes down there, then invalidate his thoughts on this. He says, I have been tracking this for a while. That's why I expected a rejection at the neckline resistance. XRP hold the head and take out the neckline, and we should see the technical target at $4.22 met. So, again, as you can see here, I just took some samples, checking the pulse of multiple XRP chart analysts. They're feeling pretty damn good right now, actually. So, none of them have the strongest conviction about, yes, we're going to proceed upward from here, or no, we're going to go down first. I'm not seeing the most strong conviction really from any of them, but I am seeing that they're leaning a certain way a little bit today that they really weren't even just today prior, just because now they have more data. They can see what happened based on that bounce after the market dipped on Thursday, and that's instilled some confidence in a lot of analysts, both for Bitcoin and XRP specifically. So today, for what it's worth, maybe the worst is behind. We're going to find out together, though. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.